Hello, I am Sherry Tarleton. I work for Junction Property Management, been working for us for a very long time. Where John, who you have met or know, and his community manager staff, y'all see out on the properties. I work in the office. I work with our office staff and our accounting personnel. Um, I make sure that procedures are put in place so that we can make sure everything's taken care of for your properties per our contract, per the needs of the board of directors. Anything that y'all ask that we have to figure out a procedure to make sure that it gets done. Back in November of 2022, we changed our accounting software. We were using two different accounting softwares. We were using an accounting software and we were using a property management software that helped us with our inspections and violations, work orders, those types of things. In November of 2022, we opted to change to a program called Vanica. We had used an accounting software for 20 years before that. Some of our communities that have been with us a very long time saw a drastic change in the financial reports that we produce. And then some of y'all that are new coming online, I want to make sure that you understand what reports you're getting as well. So I have taken a report for a property that is very small, marked out names so that y'all can't tell, an owner name or an address or a community's name. But I have taken an actual report from the month of March to go over with you and explain what each of the reports that are included in the monthly financial package are telling you. Now, if you are a person that understands accounting, maybe you deal with accounting on a regular basis with your job, you probably have no problems reading these reports. So if you don't want to watch this video, that's fine. If you think you understand the financial reports, that's great. But some people have jobs that maybe they don't deal with numbers on a regular basis. And I want to be able to show you what you're looking at to make sure you understand the stuff that we're giving you and be able to give you an opportunity to look at that stuff and ask questions when you have questions. So I'm going to share my screen here and we are going to actually go through a actual financial report. The very first page that you see on this, as you can see, I marked out the community's name, is a financial overview report. This is actually a couple of pages long. I think it's about 3. We'll see as we're going through. And the first thing it gives you is a pretty little graph telling you how much cash is on the balance sheet in your operating account. Most of our associations have at least an operating account and a reserve account where they budget so much to go into reserves every month to put aside for any major expenses that come on down the road. But this report gives you a graph of your trend for your operating cash over the last few months and your trend for your total cash. So the red line there is operating plus reserves plus any petty cash plus any other bank accounts if you have multiple bank accounts. The next page, and I flipped through this too quickly, the next page is a variance report. These numbers are all pulled from the accounting software. It's an accounting report that's done, but the notations here in the gray area are written in from your community manager. So once the accounting department is done with your report of compiling all the numbers, then it goes to your community manager and they look at these variances. And if they feel like there is a comment that needs to be noted in the gray shaded area, they will put notations here. Over here, you can see it gives you a month to date variance. It also gives you a year to date variance column. It gives you how much of a percentage of that variance there is, both month to date and year to date. This is a report that has some little colored notations to it. If it has a red U, that means it's an unfavorable variance. It's more than what the association has budgeted to this point for the year. If it has a green little F, I guess green means go, it is a favorable variance. So meaning they're in a better shape than what we have anticipated for their budget. Some are very small. If it's a very small variance, you're probably not going to get much of an explanation from your community manager. But as you can see, right here in these little gray shaded areas is where they type in the notations of what's going on as far as the budget is concerned. The next page is an accounts receivable trend and accounts payable rolling trend. So nice little graph here again. If it's blue, it is those items that are greater than 90 days old. And then the red is for everything as far as what's outstanding. Now, if you are not an accounting person, and believe me, I don't want to talk to you as if I don't think you know those things, but accounts receivable is money coming in. That is your homeowner's dues that they pay each month. That is your homeowner's dues that they pay each month. Accounts payable are those things that we are paying out. So your electric bill, your management fees, if you've got a swimming pool, your swimming pool maintenance, things like that are your accounts payable. Accounts receivable means we're receiving money for you, and that is your dues or your late fees or your violation fees, so forth. Accounts payable is the things that we are paying out for you. You will also notice on this report that there is some accounting notes. That is something that the community manager types in each month. So those notations will be there. And then there's some manager notes where the accounting notes tell you what's going on as far as the accounting report is concerned. The manager's notes are basically telling you what's ongoing on the property. Like here in this particular report, it says the repairs are being made to 106 next week. So that will help you keep informed of what's going on as far as the association is concerned. That is the last page of the financial overview. So that is just 2 to 3 pages long, depending on how much information you have there. The next report is a balance sheet. If you're an accounting person, you understand that the balance sheet and the income statement or profit and loss tell you exactly what you need to know for the property. The balance sheet has here the assets, which for y'all's associations, your assets are primarily going to be cash or receivables. So it lists an operating account on this report. It lists a reserve bank account, and it also lists an accounts receivable. That means they have $325 still outstanding that is due the association as of March 31st. Then under your liabilities, you have a prepaid assessment amount. Some of our associations, the homeowners like to pay for their dues all at once, or maybe they pay quarterly when they get billed monthly, or they just want to get ahead so that they don't have to worry about a bill coming in on a regular basis. Or maybe if they have monthly dues, they actually pay around the 20th of the prior month for that next month. So all of that would be included in prepaid assessments. So that is money that we have collected, but the billings actually haven't happened yet. We have here on this one, we have like an insurance loan payable. Some of our properties, if there are larger properties or their insurance is a very large bill, they may end up taking a loan out to pay that insurance over time instead of all in one chunk. And then accounts payable. That would be the bills that we currently have outstanding as of the report date that have not been paid yet. Then you can see down below, there's equity, there's retained earnings, different things here that those really don't get hit very often. But then you also have here listed your net income. This property that I actually picked is working off of a little bit of a loss at this point in time. But knowing this property, I know they're going to catch up. Okay, so as basic accounting terms, when you're looking at a balance sheet, the total assets always equal the total liabilities plus equity. So that is your balance sheet. The next page is a statement of revenues and expenses. A lot of people call this an income statement. A lot of people call this a profit and loss statement. This statement consolidates several reports for those properties that we've managed for quite some time and they're used to our older accounting package. This takes the place of like 4 or 5 different reports that we had as separate reports in that package. This report gives you the current period, so that would be the current month. So that would be from March 1st to March 31st. Gives you the actual expenses all the way down, income and expenses. So we've got our income first and then our operating expenses afterwards. It gives you what was budgeted for the month. So here, like, we billed $3,900 for dues and they budgeted $3,900 for dues. So we have no variance there. We billed what we said we were going to bill at the beginning of the year when we worked on our budget. Then if you look at the next columns, those are year-to-date columns. So this is our actual. That would be for this particular property. They have a fiscal year that is January through December. So that would be January through March's actual numbers. Then January through March's what we budgeted for those numbers. As you can see there, we are consistently billing exactly what we budgeted. So there is no variance. Then the very last column over here is an annual budget. So we had the current period, so the current month. We had the year-to-date, which is from January through March. But it also gives us a column that has what is our total budget for that account number for the entire year. So through January through December. So right now we're at $11,700. We've budgeted for the entire year to be $46,000, roughly $46,000. So this gives you what your total budget for the entire year is. Now, if we want to look further down, you can see on this report that we have account numbers next to each category. So our regular assessments is account number 4010. Electricity is 5310. So that's important to remember, because as we go further down, if you want to see what is making up that account balance, I'll be able to show you that in just a few minutes on another report. But there again, I want to reiterate that if you were a association with us prior to November of 2022, you were used to seeing a month-to-date actual, a month-to-date variance versus actual, a year-to-date actual, and a year-to-date budget versus actual. So this has now compiled all those reports. You just need to remember which column you're looking at. Okay. As we talked about on the balance sheet, we said that they had a little bit of a loss right now. On the year-to-date actual column, this should always match your net income on your balance sheet. Okay, so that is the statement of revenue and expenses. The one thing to remember is the account numbers are over here with the account description. If you have any question, I'll show you in just a few minutes where you can look to see what makes up that account balance. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show you is you have an AR aging report. This particular association does not have problems with collections whatsoever. So you can see here that everything that they have outstanding is less than 30 days old. This graph over here, because they only have one thing outstanding, is showing 100% of it is from 0 to 30 days. It's a very colorful graph if you have more delinquency, because it will break it down to each particular column. So 0 to 30, if you had something in the 0 to the 30 to 60 column, it will show you what percentage of what's outstanding for receivables in a different color in this little pie chart. It's kind of fun to see a little bit difference in colors, but this here, the $325 matches your accounts receivable that's on the balance sheet that we looked at prior. Up here, went too far, there we go, right here. This accounts receivable, this is the backup for that. If we had more than one account outstanding, it would list each one of those accounts here As you can see, I have blacked out here and here. It will put their address and their name. So you as a board member see who is outstanding what amount. This is not something that we would show just any homeowner. Okay, so that is your accounts receivable report. You can see there where that ties to the balance sheet. This is giving you more detail from what was on the balance sheet. The next thing is a prepaid homeowners report. You know how I said some people, especially if they have monthly dues, they may pay around the 20th of the month for the next month. That's going to show as a prepaid dues or prepaid assessments for that current month. This would also list the property address, which I have marked out, and the owner's name. This total matches your prepaid on your balance sheet. It is right there. So that report is a backup to that number. The next report is a cash disbursement report. Sometimes everybody goes, well, where did all of our money go? This is the actual payments that were made out of the bank account, out of the operating account. So this will list every payment that was made for the month. Depending on how large your association is, how many bills they pay, this could be several pages long. But this is everything that was paid for that current month. So you can see this check number was issued out to this vendor. It was coded to this with this description for this amount. We do have the capability to pay bills through ACH. This is something that we're still working through with a lot of our communities. We have now gotten to where Junction gets paid through ACH, which saves y'all a little bit of money as far as check stock is concerned and so forth. But we're hoping that we can start getting some of the other vendors online as well. Helps get them paid a little bit quicker as well. Okay, then the next report is an AP aging report. This is the bills that are outstanding that have not been paid through the end of the month. Now, they may not have been paid just because maybe they got entered the day before the report's cut off, or maybe they got entered on the 31st and we're doing the report a couple of days later, but they weren't paid on the 31st. But this will tell you what bills are still needing to be paid as of the end of the month. This number here of $21,8451 for accounts payable matches, hold on, get there, the amount that's outstanding here on your balance sheet listed as accounts payable. And remember, that is the amount that still has to be paid out. So that report is the backup to that number on your balance sheet. Okay, so that's the AP aging report. We're almost done. May not seem like it, but we are. The next report is the GL trial balance report. If you're familiar with accounting, this is your general ledger. Fanica calls it a GL trial balance. It gives you each one of your accounts and all the transactions that hit that account. As you can see, this is their operating account. This will show every check that was received, where it was an owner payment. If we had credits at the end of the month, prepayments on the owners, it will show how those were applied. And it will show the actual payments that went out. It's like this was for Superior Groundskeeping. That is a credit to that account. It was an invoice that was paid. At the top of each account, and as it rolls for pages, it gives you what the beginning balance was at the beginning of the month, the debits and the credits that hit that account, and the ending balance. The ending balance for your balance sheet account will always match your balance sheet. The ending balances, if we go down and look at like management fee, that should match your year-to-date actual expenses on the statement of revenue and expenses. So if you go back up here and look at management fees, the actual amount for the year is $1,200. It had $400 for month to date. If we go back down here to management fees, and I know I'm flipping around quick, it had $400 for the monthly activity, and it will break down what that activity was. And the total at the ending balance is $1,200 for the year. I told you on the statement of revenues and expenses, there are account numbers here on the side. If you wanted to see what makes up a particular number, let's look here at this one is, let's look at 5118 office supplies. So you want to see what makes up the account of office supplies, what we have here for this month. All you have to do is go back down here to the general ledger. Here are your account numbers right here. 5118 office supplies was a payment to Junction as a reimbursement for office supplies used in the month of February of 98 cents. So you can always tell what makes up the different accounts on your different reports by going through the GL trial balance. And of course, the GL trial balance is going to be several pages long because it's giving you all the detail. And then the last thing that you have is bank account reconciliations. It will give you what the bank balance is, any uncleared items, to give you an adjusted balance and compare it to our financial report to see if they are the same. If we have items that have not cleared the bank, they will show up here as unreconciled. This gives you both the operating account and the reserve account. If you have multiple accounts, it's going to list those accounts for you. Then it shows you everything that has cleared the bank. We take deposits through Lockbox. We also take the payments through checks that come in here in the office. So this would be each of the Lockbox deposits, the payments that are going out. And then this here shows a transfer between two accounts, between the operating account and the reserve account. But those are all the items that have cleared the bank. So those bank reconciliations are included in your financial package. Also included with this bank reconciliation, you get a copy of the bank statement itself. This would be for their reserve account. That's telling what their balance is. That's the first one. Of course, we get the front and the back because they're downloaded from the bank. And then this would be their operating account that's showing all the activity that's happened on the actual operating account. So you get a lot of information with these reports. And I know it can be very overwhelming, but whenever you're going through your financial package, of course, you will see things that I have marked out here. Anytime there was a name or an address listed, I marked through them so that you couldn't see this particular property's confidential type information. But you will see that for your associations as a board member. This, like I said before, you will get a notice as soon as the package is complete, because once accounting's done with it, which takes a few days, then the community manager goes in and makes their notations on this very first report, the financial overview report, before everything is sent to you. Sent to you and notice that the financial package is complete. You can go back and pull up previous financial packages. If you are a new board member, you have access to the old financial packages. Once you are off the board, you lose the access to go back and look at those financial packages. But let's say somebody resigned from the board and you're appointing someone else. When they get their board access for their owner portal, then they can go in and look at any of the past financial reports that they want. Your first point of contact, if you've got a question regarding your financial packages, is always your community manager. Your community manager is your liaison with Junction. Now, if you feel like you're not getting the answers that you want, or you're not sure they're understanding what your question is, you can always feel free to reach out to John Tarleton or myself, and we will do whatever we can to see if we can get those answers for you. The one thing you do have to remember is this is a software that we subscribe to. We don't write this software, so if you ask for something specific that maybe nobody's asked us for before, it may take us a little bit to figure out whether that is a report that we can complete, or if we need to contact our customer service with Vanica to see if they can help us with some things. They have been very easy to approach with some ideas. Actually, this financial overview report, some of the things that we were asking for when we first went to the software, is some things that they were able to figure out this report for us. So that is always an option. Like I said, you always want to deal with your community manager first. They know what bills and what work you should have ordered. They are approving those invoices before they are paid. And if you've got questions as far as that's concerned, we always want to deal with them first. But they have access to come and talk to my staff anytime, the ones that are doing the receivables, my staff that's doing payables. And like I said, if you've got some questions and you want to see if there's a possible report that can be ran, we have found that the software is very easy for board members to even go and run some of their own reports that they have. We've got one board member that he is very eager to go in and play with the software, and he's figured out some things that he can do through the owner portal. I hope that this has helped you as far as looking at the financial reports. I hope that we will put together some other quick little blips on how to read some of the stuff that we're doing or how to log into the system. But I definitely wanted to spend a little bit of time just to show you what is out there. If you've got any questions, please feel free to reach back out with us. Thank you very much.